What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners video for today's 6-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Osmo.com. Now, there are 6 games today, and it's kind of an ugly slate, and it's also a Monday, so I need your support now more than ever. So like this video right now, and leave a comment down below giving me your guess to which pitcher's going to have the most strikeouts today. We've got a lot of guys who have some potential, also some guys who can get blown up pretty badly. So like this video right now, and leave a comment with your guess down below. In the first corner I want to hit on today are those pitchers, and Robbie Ray going against Pittsburgh is going to be the highly owned option today everywhere. He's got 3.9 implied runs against him, and he's going to be the number 1 option with 32% on FanDuel, 55% on Yahoo, and he'll be number 2 owned on DK at 39%. Pittsburgh gets a 28.4% K rate versus left-hand pitching in 2019, and their .092 ISO and 60 WRC plus shows their inability to take advantage of Ray's 41% hard contact rate. Ray can get blown up, Ray can walk some guys, Ray can give up some home runs, but Pittsburgh is so bad that I don't know that I'm trying to worry too much about it. Ray's a guy I'm more inclined to trust than not. If you want to have some hedge stacks, that's fine, but I don't foresee getting there a bunch because the results haven't been there for Pittsburgh, but Ray's got stuff where he could really have a nice day here. Aaron Nola going against Milwaukee will also be a popular option today with 3.8 implied runs against him, which is the lowest on today's slate. He's going to be the top owned option on DK and the number 2 owned guy on FanDuel and Yahoo. There's extremely dangerous power for Milwaukee with Christian Yelich, Yasmani Grandal, Mike Moustakas, Travis Shaw, and Eric Thames all over a 221 ISO versus right-hand pitching. And Nola's swinging strike rate is down from 11.7% to 8.7% this year. Some Nola seems fine to me. The Brewers seem like solid leverage outside of the Vegas total here. Maybe Nola gets back on track, and Vegas has continually thought that Nola's going to get back on track. I'm more inclined to trust the Brewers here. I think they're an interesting leverage stack. I'll probably have more of them than I will Nola today. And Shane Bieber going against the White Sox will also be pretty popular everywhere with 3.9 implied runs against him. The White Sox have a 26.1% K rate versus right-hand pitching this year, so that should help Shane Bieber out. Bieber's been good this year with 10 Ks per 9 and a 12.3% swing strike rate, but he struggles versus lefties with a 1.56 whip, 11 hits per 9, and a 46.2% hard contact rate allowed. So a potential lefty/switch hitter heavy White Sox lineup could pose some danger and offer some leverage. They do go with a bunch of righties. I'm be more inclined to go to Bieber. I think the spot here for Bieber is okay, but again, there's going to be some risk here if you do have a bunch of lefties in that lineup for the White Sox. The next corner I want to hit on some of the top stacks on today's slate. An Arizona stack going against Nick Kingham looks pretty interesting. They get 5.1 implied runs for them, which is the highest on today's slate. And Kingham is also a guy who's substantially worse versus lefties with a 1.75 whip and 7.1 xFIP compared to a 1.12 whip and a 3.9 xFIP versus righties. And this is a pretty big sample size going back to last year. The stack of Arizona's high price should keep ownership down, but guys like David Peralta and Eduardo Escobar look the most appealing with both over a 247 ISO versus right-hand pitching. An Arizona stack is going to be pretty pricey, but a spot here versus Kingham can be pretty good, especially for the lefties in the lineup, so I don't mind Arizona as a mini stack or as a full stack if you could somehow afford them. The Cleveland stack versus Ronaldo Lopez should also be pretty popular today with 4.6 implied runs for them. Lopez allows a slate high 1.75 whip and 11.3 hits per 9, as well as a slate low 24.7% chase rate this year, and that does mean that he's going to throw pitches over the plate, guys not chasing him out of the zone. It's going to be problematic versus most teams, but Cleveland's been hitting horribly in 2019 with Carlos Santana the only hitter over a 100 WRC plus. This could be a get well spot for guys like Francisco Lindor and Jose Ramirez. I think Ronaldo Lopez has been bad enough to hope for the best, but I'm prepared for the worst here. I probably won't have a ton of Cleveland today because I just don't trust them all bouncing back at once, but the spot here versus Lopez is a pretty strong one and does seem like it's worth having some exposure to as both stacks and one-offs. A Philly stack versus Freddie Peralta also looks pretty interesting with 4.7 implied runs in their favor, and Peralta's been pitching terribly this year with a 1.6 whip, 10.5 hits per 9, and a 5.5% home run rate allowed. Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins, and JT Realmuto are the most appealing, but even the bottom of the order here, a guy like Maikel Franco can't hurt Peralta with a 217 ISO and just a 13.7% K rate. I think there are a few ways to stack up Philly. I think the one-offs here, Bryce Harper, a guy I'll talk about later, are also pretty appealing versus Peralta, but Philly as a stack is going to interest me today because Peralta really hasn't had the stuff so far this year. The next corner I want to hit out of the lower-owned option on today's slate, and Matthew Boyd going against Houston is a guy who does appeal to me, even though he has 4.6 implied runs against him, which is not great. He's low-owned and he's priced down due to the tough matchup. But Boyd's been filthy this year with a 14.5% swinging strike rate and 11.3 Ks per 9, which are both highs on the slate. Houston is the best hitting team in the league versus left-hand pitching with a 368 on-base percentage and a 225 ISO, but a 50-degree day, and Boyd's stuff could limit their potential here. I think Houston is a great hitting team, but Boyd's stuff is potent enough where he can get past, I think, any lineup in the league right now, so I like Boyd. I think he's going to be low-owned. People are sleeping on the fact that he's really elite this year, and his price is just disrespectful, even though this matchup versus Houston is probably about as bad as you can get right now. A Minnesota stack versus Tyler Skaggs also appeals to me with 4.7 implied runs in their favor, and Skaggs hasn't missed bats at all this year with an 8.4% swing strike rate. He's also allowed 9.4 hits per 9. The ownership will be expected at a decent rate for Nelson Cruz, Marwin Gonzalez, and CJ Cron, but Mitch Garver and others on this lineup are under 10% ownership despite elite hitting this season. Skaggs is a guy who really doesn't impress me. Minnesota's a lineup that has impressed me more often than not. You're paying a premium because they have hit well in the year, but this is a lineup that does have a lot of potential versus a guy in Skaggs who really hasn't shown much so far this season. The Seattle stack versus Mike Fiers also interests me today with 4. 0.5 implied runs in their favor. And despite Fire's recent no-hitter, his 7.6% swinging strike rate and 6.7 Ks per 9 allowed offers a lot of opportunity to opposing hitters. Mitch Haniger, Dan Vogelbach, and Edwin Encarnacion are all over a 4.7% home run rate versus right-hand pitching. And Fire's is also well above league average in home runs allowed going back to last year with a 4.4% home run rate. I think Fire's no-hitter was a bit of an aberration. He's not that great of a pitcher. He definitely doesn't have overpowering stuff. So Seattle at home, it's a good spot for them, I think, to get back on track versus a guy in Mike Fiers who seems due for some negative regression. And Brad Peacock at Detroit also seems like a guy we're talking about with 3.9 implied runs against him. Peacock's coming off a monster 12K day versus Kansas City, and now he gets a Detroit lineup with a 25.9% K rate versus right-hand pitching on the year. Peacock has been elite versus righties with a .97 whip, 1.8 xFIP, and 13.4 Ks per 9, but he struggles mightily versus lefties with a 1.4 whip, 5.8 xFIP, and a 6.6% home run rate. The price works, but I prefer paying up a little bit more for a guy like Jose Barrios. I think Peacock's okay. I think the lineup, though, is going to depend. If he's getting a lot of righties, I'm more inclined to go with Peacock. If he's getting some lefties, I think there's some risk there, but I still don't mind Peacock because, look, he did show the ceiling he has, and he does have a lot of potential, but I think this lineup could be a bit of a trap for him if there are some lefties in there. And the last corner I want to hit on today are the one-offs, and CJ Cron going against Tyler Skaggs is a guy that I like a lot. Cron is raked versus left-hand pitching going back to last year with a 314 batting average, 273 ISO, and 158 WRC+, while Skaggs allows 9.5 hits per 9 and 41% hard contact to righties. Skaggs, a guy, again, I'm not super impressed by. Cron is a guy who's rounding into form. A lot of this Twins lineup who has been hitting poorly, including Marwin Gonzalez, is starting to round into form here, so I think it's a good time to go to them, both as a stack and as a one-off of CJ Cron, just at a good price with a lot of potential. Bryce Harper versus Freddie Peralta also interests me, with Peralta allowing a lot of lefty power with a 4.3% home run rate, as well as a 1.7 whip and 45% hard contact. Harper's price is still reasonable. That's what matters to me here, and Peralta not being at home probably should decrease the lefty power that he gives up, but Harper's a great hitter, still one of the elite power hitters from the left side of the plate, so I think it's a good spot here versus a guy in Peralta who really has not had it at all to start the year. And David Peralta versus Nick Kingham is also a guy that interests me as a one-off. Peralta has a 322 batting average and 254 ISO versus right-hand pitching that could pay dividends, with Kingham allowing a 6.1% home run rate and 11 hits per 9 versus lefties. Peralta's guy has been hitting well this year, hitting well going back to last year versus righties. Kingham, I talked about his struggles versus lefties. They're very pronounced, like a lot of pitchers on today's slate. A lot of guys struggling versus lefties, and the spot for Peralta could be one where he takes advantage. So there are my thoughts on today's abridged Monday slate. So right now, like this video and leave a comment down below giving me your guess to which pitcher is going to have the most strikeouts on today's slate. If it's Matthew Boyd, I'll be the most happy, but if it's anybody in your right, it's going to be a great job by you. The support means a ton. So like this video, engage with me, leave a comment down below or any questions, and I will come in later to chop it up with you guys. And use that promo code SWITCHANDHEDGE for half off your first month of any Awesemo.com package. You get 50% off the ownership projections and rankings, which we talk about ad nauseum. The deep dive column, also great for building lineups every day. A lot of tools that can help you out with our lineup builder. All the things you need at your fingertips to be better at DFS. So use that promo code SWITCHANDHEDGE right now to get half off your first month of any Awesemo.com package. I'll be back again tomorrow with another Four Corners video, so good luck.